There is currently a name being thrown around on Gallifrey Base and Reddit, who many people believe could very well be the next mainline Doctor in Doctor Who. Now, how is that possible when the show itself hasn't been recommissioned, at least publicly? I mean, we've made plenty of videos talking about the ongoing saga of whether it's being shopped to various streamers like Amazon Prime, whether the Disney Plus deal's going to keep going through. I mean, if we look at the canon of the show, it currently suggests that Billie Piper is the next Doctor, but the fact that in the credits she's not called the Doctor, and all of this doubt, and the fact that this is Rose Tyler, or Bad Wolf, or The Moment, there's a lot of opportunities for storytelling stuff here. But point is, I don't think Billie Piper is going to be the Doctor, at least not for a long period of time. We're going to make more videos and discuss more things about possible specials, like could Billie Piper do the 60th anniversary like David Tennant did, 3 episodes, that make way for this new actor to take on the role of the Doctor. Now, how is this name being suggested when we don't even know whether Billie Piper or the show will even continue on? Well, this leak suggests that this actor was actually considered and very nearly played the 15th Doctor before Ncuti Gatwa ended up having the role. It's a story that's been told since Ncuti's casting in 2022. Russell T Davies has openly said he was on the verge of offering this job to a really talented actor. He never specified who, but apparently it was the actor who we'll discuss soon, and they could potentially be taking the role now that Ncuti's left, but as I say, we'll discuss that later in the video, so stick around. We've also had a casting which I would not really be on board for, but an actor has put their name forward. An actor has thrown their name into the ring saying, I would like to play the 16th Doctor. Once again, we'll break that down because it's a bonkers casting and it's not who you expect. But first we're going to discuss all of these. There's so many articles currently going around the internet about Mark Gatiss's comments on Doctor Who, and a lot of them are spinning his words to be incredibly negative. One of the more tame ones is over here from the Radio Times that says Doctor Who legend Mark Gatiss reveals key problem for writing episodes. Nostalgia is a dangerous thing. Now, that phrase alone does kind of apply to the treatment of Sutekh, or Omega, or the Rani in recent years of Doctor Who, but once again, just like that Russell T Davies story that blew up all over the internet the other week, please go and watch the actual interview. It always endlessly fascinates me how people on Twitter, when you see something written down, you don't know the context, you don't know what the tone of voice was when said. This is not Mark Gatiss slagging off Russell T Davies as these articles would like you to believe. I did go and watch the entire Mark Gatiss interview. It's a very calm, rational conversation, but we are going to look at some of the things he said because I do agree with a lot of them. But before we do that, here's a word from this video's sponsor. If you're anything like me, you'll spend a lot of time on your phone. What if I told you you could get paid to scroll on your phone? Why not try Testerup, a free app that pays you, the user, to test new games and new apps? Well, here's how it works. Just sign up and browse through the available tasks and pick an app to test. You might be asked to play a game, reach a certain level, or answer just a couple of survey questions. Yes, that's right, you can play a mobile game and get paid for your feedback. The app itself is totally free. Signing up takes under 2 minutes. And the app sends you money directly via bank transfer. Some tasks even pay up to $80 per app. And in case any of you are worried, it's rated 4.2 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot, with over 3 million users. I was on a long train journey the other day and was literally just earning money by playing these apps. So why not hit the link in the description and pinned comment to download Testerup for free today. It's always interested me that Mark Gatiss is never really sort of thrown around in the fandom space as this guy will be the next showrunner. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't think Russell's going anywhere anytime soon, but so many writers are like, oh yeah, this guy's going to be set up to be the showrunner, but Mark Gatiss has never had a go in that sort of field of speculation, at least that I can remember. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But he does seem to have it down to a T. Like, I agree with this statement. He says, you have to go, right, why is this going to work now? It doesn't really matter what worked for John Pertwee and Tom Baker, it's about now. So, if we're trying to get an audience now, this show is the same, but different. So to me, it was always a combination of those things, which I completely agree with. Look at the 2005 reboot of Doctor Who, arguably the most successful reboot of most, if not any, franchise of all time. I mean, I say reboot, it wasn't a full reboot, but they made it so 2005, even the Doctor's look, his attitude, the effects, changing the aspect ratio to match modern TV. They didn't go back to the square aspect ratio, to the 22-minute episodes, to the multicam. They kept up with the times and adapted. Now, Mark isn't in this interview slagging off Russell T Davies at all, but I do think this is one of the reasons that the new era hasn't quite worked. It was supposed to be this fresh jumping on point, but it's kind of deep-rooted lore for Doctor Who fans, like Omega, the Rani, Sutekh. You can have all of them in the show, but the way they go about it, especially including flashbacks, it makes people feel like they have to do homework. I've talked about it in videos before, but making your audience feel like they have to do homework to enjoy the show is never a good idea. Mark talks about the first thing he ever did for Doctor Who was writing one of the Virgin New Adventures books, and the whole story was about this problem. It's about nostalgia as an alien entity that feeds off memory, because it's funny. I keep coming back to that because as much as I love old stuff, the job of the show is constantly to regenerate itself. Now, that doesn't mean to completely give up and change everything, completely refresh it. You take the bits that work and put them in a modern day context. Once again, 2005, they took the Daleks and put them in a modern day context. They didn't make... Imagine in Dalek, if that Dalek had started going, oh yes, Davros, my creator, remember Genesis of the Daleks? Like, it would just completely alienate an audience. That Dalek felt new, it felt fresh. They basically did a soft reboot for the Cybermen. Age of Steel and all of those parallel world stories, that was basically an origin, a genesis of the Cybermen under new conditions while sticking to the old canon. It didn't annoy old fans, it didn't upset new fans, it just kind of worked. Gatiss goes on to say, and sometimes when I meet grumpy old Doctor Who fans, you think you've just fallen into the same space-time trap, that it's not as good as it used to be. Now, I think this doesn't just go for Doctor Who, this goes for everything. So many people so often will have that mindset of like, oh, things aren't as good as they used to be. Especially, I notice, people of my generation when it comes to Doctor Who. Like, if The Sound of Drums, no, The Last of the Time Lords, came out now, there would be a lot of complaining online. Because there was at the time. Like, you can go back to, like, internet archives and find loads of reviews of the early Russell T Davies era. People were complaining just as much as they were now, especially around the time of the David Tennant specials. There was so much complaining online. But yeah, I thought I'd just give you a bit of context on this whole Mark Gatiss thing, because there's a bunch of publications that are just putting out article after article after article saying how Mark Gatiss says the show's dead, and that's not what he said. He did make another comment about like the show maybe needing a rest, which some people say should happen, some people say shouldn't happen. It's an ongoing debate. I don't quite know what I think, because in some ways, leaving Doctor Who to have a little bit of a nap, then it comes back stronger than ever. Sounds great, but at the same time, TV is in such a weird place. The industry's kind of dying but thriving. Small projects can't exist. Like, none of it makes any sense, and it's so tumultuous. We don't really know what the future is, but I'd just like more Doctor Who to be made, to be honest. That's the wish I have. But you're all wondering, who was this actor that almost took on the role of the 15th Doctor and will potentially take on the role of 16? Now, it's only potential. As I say, we don't currently know, at least publicly, whether Doctor Who's coming back, whether it's been recommissioned. The BBC has stuck by it. They've said, we are committed to protecting the Doctor Who brand. But quite what that entails, we're yet to see. Well, this Reddit post here kicked it all off. Rumour: Will Sharpe was Rtd'S second choice to play the 15th Doctor. A reputable source on the Doctor Who Leak Discord today mentioned that they know for 100% certainty that Will Sharpe was Rtd'S original choice to play the 15th Doctor before Ncuti auditioned, and there is a very good chance that Russell T Davies may even circle back to him once/if the show's future is finalised, as Billie Piper won't be sticking around for long. So that there is a direct quote from this leaker, from this source, and yeah, there is a lot of talk about the fact that Piper is not sticking around for long. That's not the plan here. As I mentioned at the start of this video, we kind of imagine it to be a couple of specials. I do feel that they'd have to make it different to the 60th, because we kind of did this big regeneration, returning face, couple of specials, explain this, go, unless Russell wraps up his tenure with Billie Piper, but then Russell wouldn't be choosing the next Doctor, so this implies that if Will Sharpe is to take on the role, Russell's also going to be sticking around to see his Doctor out, which Russell does keep saying he's not going anywhere anytime soon. He said he has plans for many, many years to come, so yeah, it's interesting. Now, who is Will Sharpe? A lot of you out there will already know this guy, but here he is, and I can't lie, like, I've heard of him vaguely. I don't know if I've seen much of the things he's in, but on vibes alone, just go on Google Images and scroll through a couple of pictures. Like, he could play the Doctor. He's also 38 years old, which I'd say is a pretty standard age for the Doctor. Like, he's in the middle. He's not one of the older ones. He's not one of the younger ones. He's just like a normal age for playing the Doctor. I suppose when he'd have originally been cast, if this is to be believed, he'd have been a couple of years younger, like 35-ish. So I think he's probably just a couple of years older than Ncuti Gatwa. But he has got like a stacked IMDb, like A Real Pain, The White Lotus, The Electrical Life of Louis Wain. That he's done a lot of stuff, and he has got that sort of eccentric feel to him as well. William Tamori Fiduka Sharpe is an English actor and filmmaker. After writing for comedy shows and appearing in the medical drama Casualty, which I assume a lot of British people will know him from, he made his feature directorial debut with Black Pond. So what's quite interesting as well is he has written and directed various other projects. Now, we know, like, Russell is obviously the head writer, but it would be kind of cool to see a Doctor have direct input on the writing of his stories. Now, that's not completely unprecedented. We know that Capaldi had, not like, he didn't help out with the writing as such, but he did have the ability to just ask Moffat, can I slip a couple of lines here and there? Like his big regeneration speech, that bizarre bit where he's like, children can hear your name. That was directly from Capaldi. So it would be kind of cool to see a Doctor actually have the ability to change up scripts and to write a bit of stuff. He could even write his own episode, like that would be kind of cool. But yeah, that's one of the big rumours going around at the moment, which is pretty cool. But which other big British actor this week claimed to want the role of the Doctor? Well, it's none other than Mr. Danny Dyer. Apologies for how dire that accent was. Danny Dyer eyes the Doctor Who job as he reveals plan for a more working class Time Lord. That alone reminds me of like Christopher Eccleston in 2005 talking about how he wanted like a Doctor that wasn't this big aristocrat or big fancy person, it was just him. And I mean, Eccleston is one of, if not, no, he's up there with like the best Doctors of all time. So I'd be happy to see another like more working class kind of Doctor, but not played by Danny Dyer. Like, come on. The BAFTA-winning actor says he'd like to follow in the footsteps of iconic actors. It's such an iconic thing to do, he explained. It's almost, not on the same level, but like James Bond. It's a character that's loved by so many. Again, it gives you an opportunity with Doctor Who, because of the nature of the work, to bring something left field, something a bit mental, a bit stylised, which is why I love the idea of it. I mean, that alone is fine, but then he goes on to say maybe his Doctor would be a little bit alpha. What do I do, really? You've hired me for a reason. I don't think you want me to come in and play Doctor Who, you know, really posh. I don't think we need an alpha doctor. We don't need the alpha male doctor. That is not what the world needs, Danny Dyer. I'm sorry. I mean, he goes on to say that the show's never really had a working class doctor, but maybe Jodie Whittaker was. I mean, Eccleston is right there. Eccleston is everything he described in the first paragraph, but thankfully not Danny Dyer. I mean, it would certainly be an interesting casting choice. It's obviously not going to happen as well. I mean, the Will Sharpe rumours that we talked about before, that's a lot more likely. That's a lot more logical, and I'd be a lot more on board for that. But yeah, this is, I think, just Danny Dyer would love the role. I'd be happy to see him in Doctor Who, potentially, as a different character, but not as the Doctor. There's not many people I'd just be like, no, you're not the Doctor, but I can't get on board with Danny Dyer. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll see. He's a fine actor. But I asked you guys over on my Instagram story who you'd like to see take on this role. So let's do a quick fire round of reading your suggestions. If you want to get involved with any of these, you can check out my Instagram page, give it a follow to stay up to date with all of these. It's fun sometimes to see what you guys are thinking. But yeah, let's do a really quick fire round of your suggestions for the next Doctor. Number 1 isn't actually a suggestion for the next Doctor. Excellent start. But we've got David Tennant as the companion. No, David Tennant, I love you. You are so good. You're one of the best Doctors of all time. You're one of the best actors of your generation. But no. Also, apologies, because I can't read everyone's, so many of you. I only put this up 5 hours ago, but we've already got, over 50 responses. So, thank you all. But, yeah, I'll answer as many as I can in this quick fire round. Tom Ellis, no. That guy, he's already been in Doctor Who, hasn't he? And he refused to come back, so no, I've got a grudge. Eddie Redmayne. Eddie Redmayne's already played knockoff Doctor Who in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. He was literally just channeling Matt Smith as the 11th Doctor, but not quite as good. Those films I'm not the biggest fan of. But Eddie Redmayne is a very good actor, don't get me wrong. He's really talented, he is really good, but he's not... I don't think he'd give anything new to the role. It's not a bad suggestion, but I want something that, somewhat, Ncuti Gatwa was a great casting because nobody was really suggesting it, but when you hear it, you go, oh my god, yes, that makes perfect sense. I want a name like that. And as I say, he already did the 11th Doctor, but not quite as good in Fantastic Beasts. Olivia Colman, yeah, that's not a bad suggestion. Not a bad suggestion. She has been in Doctor Who, but it was a minor enough role for it not really to matter. So... yeah, it would be interesting. You know what? Yeah, I'd be on board for it. I think she's probably too famous, but it would be cool. Dev Patel. This has been my suggestion for many, many years. If you want to go and watch my What I'd Do If I Was Showrunner, huge hour-long special video with loads of cameos. If you like Doctor Who YouTube, you've got loads of Doctor Who YouTubers cropping up in there. I also speak to Pearl Mackie and Annette Badland in that video, so go and check it out. It's full of fun stuff. But yeah, Dev Patel would be a perfect choice. Once again, though, he's probably too big. Speaking of too big for the role, Tom Hiddleston. I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't be against him as the Doctor. I mean, it would bring the show a lot of publicity, but Disney and the BBC, well, Disney or the BBC, they could not afford that man. Sure, they got him on board for Loki for an entire season, but I dread to think what his paycheck would have been. He's too famous for Doctor Who, but he'd be cool. Jeevan here suggests an unknown actor. Yeah, this is what I was saying at the start. I kind of want... I don't know about completely unknown. I want them to have a little basis in something. We need to know that they're a really strong actor. They need to have that presence. The Doctor, even if they're a young actor, they've got to have that old man presence. They've got to have the ability to make everyone click, look at them, and trust them immediately. So, yeah, I'd be on board for an unknown actor. Probably not Noel Clarke. You know what? I'd change that to definitely not Noel Clarke. Gillian Anderson, only if she did the British accent, like in Sex Education. Yeah, it's a controversial take. Could a non-Brit, or someone not from the UK, could they take on the role of the Doctor? Yeah. Yeah, I'd give the pass to Gillian Anderson. She'd be allowed to play the Doctor. Probably. Yeah, no, she's good in X-Files. She's really good in X-Files, and she's good in Sex Ed. Yeah, Yeah, she's too big though. She wouldn't come to Doctor Who, but sure. Freya suggests Ben Whishaw. Once again, I think we might have the problem with he's too famous. He'd be a great casting. I'm pretty sure, he's Paddington, right? Ben Whishaw plays Paddington. I think we should just have Paddington Bear as the next Doctor. Like, Billy Piper regenerates into Paddington Bear. That would be peak. Like, that would be, it'd be interesting. But no, Ben Whishaw, I think that he's been thrown around for years, hasn't he? That's like, goes back to 2013, like when Capaldi was announced. But no, I'd be on board, he'd be cool, but he's, once again, I think he's too famous. Here we go, perfect choice, Joe Street, very underrated actor, and the sunglasses emoji. You know what, yeah, Joe Street would be so good as the Doctor. I mean, if you want to see that, you can go and watch our fan films, the Echo series. I shouldn't be cast as the Doctor in the main show, I don't think. I'm afraid my acting ability is not quite up to scratch. So I'll leave that to professional actors. But no, yay. We've got another Ben Whishaw or Gillian Anderson. But there you go, that's today's video, I hope you did enjoy. There's a lot of suggestions there, and I mean, casting the role of the Doctor is never easy, but let me know in the comments who you'd like to see. Would you like to see Will Sharpe take on this role? What about Danny Dyer? Or any of the other names suggested in this video? Thank you very much for watching, I hope you did enjoy. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe as usual. Check out Testerup at the link down below. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.
Don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Confused Adipose YouTube channel.
I will destroy you!
She's not seen a single episode.
No, I've watched your episodes.
Keep these sonic screwdrivers.
What else am I saying about the film? Don't watch this one.